Every year, countless children vanish from their homes, leaving families shattered and communities searching for answers. But in the small town of Beacon Ridge, an unsettling event unfolded, a tale of terror, wonder, and an encounter with a being from beyond our world. As the sun set over Beacon Ridge, darkness enveloped the streets, casting an eerie shadow over the town. The families tucked their children into bed, blissfully unaware of the horror that awaited them. In just 3 days, a string of disappearances would turn this peaceful community into a hotbed of fear and confusion. Parents began to notice something strange. Their children spoke of whispers in the night, of glowing lights just outside their windows. But when they checked, there was nothing, only the stillness of the night, broken by the occasional rustle of leaves. The townsfolk were left bewildered as reports began to flood in. Several children had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only their toys and a chilling silence. Desperation gripped the town as frantic search parties scoured every inch of Beacon Ridge, combing through woods and backyards, calling out for the missing children. Neighbors banded together, their faces etched with worry, but with each passing hour, hope began to wane. The police, baffled, had no leads, only fragmented pieces of evidence. See a torn piece of fabric, strange footprints that seemed to vanish into thin air, and unexplainable electromagnetic disturbances around the town. The tension mounted as the days dragged on. Parents were met with disbelief when they shared their tales of odd sounds and flickering lights. "How could this happen in our town?" they whispered among themselves. Then, just when it seemed despair would consume them, a miraculous event took place. A brilliant blue light illuminated the night sky, captivating the townsfolk's attention. The light grew brighter, swirling and pulsating in an array of colors. People stepped outside, their gazes transfixed on the spectacle above. Little did they know that this dazzling display was just the prelude to an encounter that would change everything. In the wake of this celestial phenomenon, a massive silver spacecraft descended, casting a shadow over the town square. It landed silently in a nearby field, and as the townspeople gathered, a figure emerged from the craft. Nareo, an alien being with vibrant green skin and large, expressive eyes, stepped forward, exuding an air of otherworldly grace. As he approached, he raised his hand, which emitted a soft, glowing light. The crowd fell silent, fear mingling with curiosity, as Nareo communicated telepathically. "I come in peace. I have taken the children to save them from a greater danger. You must listen." Shock and disbelief rippled through the crowd. How could an alien claim to have saved their children? Confusion settled over the townsfolk like a thick fog as they struggled to process the gravity of Nareo's words. What could be more dangerous than the void of their missing kids? Nareo continued, his voice a melodic whisper in their minds. He explained that he belonged to an intergalactic alliance dedicated to protecting innocent life across the universe. He revealed that the children of Beacon Ridge possessed extraordinary abilities that made them targets for a dark force that threatened not only their town but the entire galaxy. At that moment, the narrative shifted. The townsfolk were confronted with the uncomfortable truth: their children were not mere victims, they were vital pieces in a cosmic puzzle. Nareo invited a few parents aboard his ship, promising them a chance to see their children and understand the extraordinary circumstances surrounding their disappearance. Hesitantly, a group of parents stepped forward, hearts pounding with a mix of help and dread. They followed Nareo into the ship, their breath hitching at the sight before them. Inside was a breathtaking realm, filled with colors and lights that seemed to dance to an otherworldly rhythm. The children were safe, playing joyfully in an expansive playground that defied the laws of nature. As laughter echoed around them, the parents felt a bittersweet mix of relief and sorrow. Their children, who had once been lost, were now thriving in an environment of wonder and possibility. Nareo stood before the parents, his expression earnest, and said, "They are learning to harness their abilities. I saved them from a darkness that seeks to exploit their gifts. You must understand their innocence is a powerful force, one that can protect worlds." The truth hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of the stakes involved. The children were not captives, they were being prepared for something greater, a cosmic battle that awaited them beyond the stars. The parents watched in awe as their children discovered talents they never knew they possessed, some levitating small objects, others creating bursts of light with their laughter. But amid this miraculous revelation, a mother, filled with anger and confusion, stepped forward. "You can't just take them. They're not yours. They belong to us." Her voice trembled with desperation, echoing the sentiments of countless parents who had endured sleepless nights. Nareo, unfazed, looked at her with compassion. "I saved them. You are the ones who failed to protect them from what lurks in the dark." His words struck like lightning, leaving the parents grappling with the harsh reality of their own shortcomings. The tension in the room thickened as the townsfolk listened intently to Nero's explanations. He detailed the imminent threat to a dark force that had already taken children from other worlds, seeking to harness their potential for sinister purposes. The stakes had never been higher, and their children's unique gifts were crucial to combating this darkness. As Nareo implored the parents to understand, the weight of his words settled over the room like a shroud. The parents were faced with a heart-wrenching dilemma. Would they keep their children in the safety of home or allow them to embark on a journey that could determine the fate of worlds? Nareo turned to the children, who had gathered around him, their eyes filled with determination. "You must decide," he said solemnly. "You can stay here and train to harness your powers, or you can return home, unaware of the dangers that lie ahead." The children exchanged glances, their faces bright with the excitement of adventure. A young girl stepped forward, her voice strong and unwavering. "We want to help. We're not afraid. We can do this." The parents were torn between their instinct to protect and the realization that their children had grown beyond what they could have ever imagined. As they watched their children step toward Nareo, the line between captor and savior blurred, challenging everything they believed about protection and sacrifice. In that emotional moment, parents embraced their children, tears streaming down their faces as they faced the gravity of their decision. The children, filled with newfound purpose, turned to Nareo, ready to accept their fate. The ship's door opened wide, and with a wave of his hand, Nareo welcomed them aboard. "Together, we will learn to fight this darkness. Your journey has only just begun." As the spacecraft ascended into the night sky, the townsfolk below were left in a haze of emotions, a hope mixed with heartache. They watched as their children disappeared among the stars, knowing they were embarking on an adventure beyond their wildest dreams. And as dawn broke over Beacon Ridge, a sense of calm settled over the town. Though the children were gone, their legacy would live on, intertwined with a narrative that stretched across the cosmos. The parents remained, their hearts heavy yet proud, understanding that their children had become part of something much larger than themselves. "Sometimes, we must lose ourselves to find our true purpose," the narrator mused. "The universe is vast, and we are but small pieces in an extraordinary puzzle. In the end, the mystery of Beacon Ridge served as a reminder that in the face of the unknown, we must confront our fears and embrace the extraordinary. What would you choose if faced with such a decision? The tale of Beacon Ridge will linger long after the last child's laughter fades into the night, inviting all of us to consider what it truly means to protect those we love.